Hi, good morning, everybody. Happy Mother's Day. Welcome to the Mother's Day version of Morning Joe with Christina and Brooke. Today, we're going to talk about some of our favorite people in the whole world and also celebrate some moms here. We'll kick it off with Joe. I'm dying to hear what you have to say on this topic.
I always get so scared when you throw it to me first. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to set the wrong tone. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I will start out though the way that I did when I first logged on and you were here, which is just happy Mother's Day to you, Christina, to my mom, all the moms, my wife who's a mom, and all the future moms, or people who don't want to be moms, because that was us for a while. So, anyways, get that out of the way. Over the last week, there's been two things that my brain has kind of been going back to that relates to Mother's Day. One is a little bit more like broad, maybe a little philosophical, but just a little bit of a broader view of things. And the other is kind of a really cool article that I read with some practical ideas from a doctor who's like, hey, I'm going to do Mother's Day this weekend. Here's what I'm going to do. You know, this doctor from New York. So we'll see which of those fits best. But I think in the broad view, something that I kept thinking about over the week was how I think this experience for a lot of us has been like, you've ever seen a movie where there's a genie and you get the three wishes and you ask for something and the genie gives you your wish, but not in the way that you intended. There's always some weird thing that isn't exactly what you wanted, where you're like, oh, I wish to be like a millionaire. He like makes you a drug dealer, right? Or something like that. I think that I saw that
Oh,
in a
almost
movie.
like be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. So,
Okay.
yes. So think of that. But I think this experience has been a little bit similar, and I'll try to connect this to Mother's Day. The idea of like, I think this is a good opportunity, or maybe it's just like a larger appeal to the concept of simplicity, right? That I think prior to this, so many of us would have said, like, oh, I wish we could just spend more time with my family. I work so much, or I wish I could just be home more. There were these things that we thought we wanted or that we thought we should want. And then in
Mhm.
some ways, we've gotten that. Like so many of us have had the opportunity to spend more time at home. For those of us that have kids,
Yes.
we often always think, I wish I could just have time over work. Well, hell, now we're stuck with them. Now we've got them all day long. Maybe in this weird kind of genie way, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, but these aren't the ideal circumstances where I would have wanted to spend more time with my kids. But I think all of us have been, I know we have in our conversations and just conversations with friends, we've all been kind of noticing that there are things about this, even if it's not ideal, that we enjoy. And a part of it has been like this, things are a little simpler. We might be working a little more, working in ways that are a little bit more complicated, but there's something that's a little bit simpler and a reminder as we move back to normal that we can do it like in a mindful and intentional ways to maybe try to honor those things that we've been able to enjoy a little bit more while still enjoying things like Mother's Day. Does that make any sense?
Makes a lot of
Does
sense.
it?
I just love your brain, Joe, how you are able to
It
take
bothers
things
me.
and just put them in broad perspective and really bring us home to the current times. And this is kind of where my head was going to. I was very philosophical when I woke up this morning. I don't know what if it's Mother's Day or what, but my brain just kept going to compassion and what makes a mother's love different. And I think that's it. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I'm like, it's just that judgment free, unconditional love. And I was like, wow, what if we took that principle and applied it to something that our brain is really laser focused on right now that has us acting in judgment? What if we took our lens and put on that mother's view there and tried to sit and empathize, become really compassionate, and then move beyond that with like a call to action. Like, okay, how can we work through this, see eye to eye, and with love and compassion, move out of this situation or whatever it is, whatever inner struggle you have going on, because we all have them all the time. They're just different right now. And what you said, Joe, just really like inspired that at a deeper level just now, because yeah, it's just different. And if we act in compassion and kindness, the situation becomes a little different. We see it a little differently, and it doesn't become so terrible or horrible. And that magic wand, the wish that we got, can become something great again.
I love how you both just like brought that together. And you're so right, Joe and Christina. It's all perspective. It's funny. I actually was watching the Jerry Seinfeld 23 something, his new stand up on Netflix. He's so funny. But he was talking about like how we're always wanting to get out of a situation. It's like, okay, you go home. Wow, I can't wait to get out and like be away from my kids. Okay, I'm at work. Oh, when is work going to be over? Okay,
Yes.
when is the week going to be over? Okay, great. Let's go out. Okay, now that we're out, when are we going to go home? Like it's always wishing for the next thing to get out. So it's pretty amazing that like we've wished for more time with our families and our kids, and now it's here. So what are you wishing for now, Joe?
Brooke, I don't know if this necessarily applies to what Christina was saying, but I think you just like dumped glue on everything that I was trying to say. Like you did it. You brought out the glue. You like dumped the glue out on top of it to kind of make it all even and to bring it all together. That's exactly how I was thinking about it, even though I didn't have those words, I didn't have that phrasing. Was the idea like we're all moving towards reopening, right? Every state is dying to reopen, and who's going to go first? And, Christina did some boating yesterday, and barbershops are opening, and, we're trying to go back to new normal. And what you just said is so key, because for me, I think that's what I was trying to get to, even if I didn't get there, that, hey, while we're thinking about reopening, can we identify what some of those things are, some of those simple, beautiful little things that we've been able to enjoy, and how do we bring them into the new normal? How do we bring them with us so that we're not in 6 months or a year from now, we're not back in the same exact trap that we were in before all of this? We're like, oh, I wish I could spend more time with my kids. Now, funny, because Seinfeld, his answer might be like, we can't. That's just our nature. We're just always going to be unhappy with it.
He said that suck and great are the same thing. It's like, okay, if things are great, they also suck. It's all perspective.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a great question. And, like we read all these self-help books and, as a coach, it's always thinking about like, okay, how can I be present in the moment? Because presence is a gift, right? And like, we can sometimes, but we really have to work on it. It's an effort. And we have to come back to it every day to be present. And how long is that presence in that moment?
One to that end, I think one of the article that I read over the week, which I read a couple of them, but this is the one that really stuck out in my mind, maybe provides some practical Mother's Day real world guidance for that, where it was from this doctor, I think up in New York, Dr. Cass. I wanted to get her name right. And she was just talking about her plans for Mother's Day. She's like, look, I'm a doctor. I know what's going on. I know how bad things are. I'm in New York. I'm in the middle of all this craziness. But it's Mother's Day. And I think there's a line that we can find between staying safe and being wise and discerning in how we use our time, but also like, I want to hang out with my mom. It's Mother's Day, right? Like, I think there's a line. And some of her stuff was just so straightforward and so just common sense that it just really stuck with me. So one is, she's like, I'm going to be visiting my mom. I'm going to physically go visit my mom, and we're going to have a meal together. Yes, it's going to be outdoors, but we're going to have a meal together. And there's going to be lots of hand washing and lots of face washing and social distancing. We're going to be several feet away. You know what? If somebody needs a hug, they're going to get a hug. And then we're going to go wash our hands and our faces as soon as we're done with our hug. But fine, you need a hug, we'll get one. And then we're just going to sit down and let's laugh and let's talk. And yes, we're going to be 6 feet apart, but we're going to share stories. We're going to reminisce about how bad of a kid I was and how great of a mom you were and how I didn't appreciate that at the time. And just kind of enjoy the simple things in a way that is honoring, like, man, this deep connection that maybe I can appreciate more in a way, it more than I could have maybe 4 or 5 months ago, but that also kind of respects this new environment that we're in. I thought that was cool.
That is really cool. That is really cool. My boyfriend's mom, we're actually going to her house later today, and she said the same thing. If it rains, the weather is not looking great in Boca. If it rains, we're going to go inside. We're going to go inside and you're going to give me a hug.
So crazy that that is out of the box,
Yeah.
right? Like,
That's stretching the limits. Like, we're gonna hug. Oh, are we gonna hug? Do I have to
You
wear
know-
like protective clothing?
in my home. You're gonna come into my home and hug me
And
on
for
Mother's
us, this
Day.
this presents such a dilemma for us. Like, my wife and I are both Hispanic, and you guys are from South Florida. You know how this flows with with our people down here. Like, we're huggy, kissy people, and this is a tough time for us. Like, we don't know how to deal with this. Like, we don't know how to say hi without the hug and the air kiss, right? Like, we don't know how to do that.
I know some Northerners that are really happy about it, by the way. They're like, yes, I don't have to worry about kissing you when I see you.
Speaking of Northerners, did you hear it snowed yesterday?
Unbelievable. I can't.
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a whole new Mother's Day.
I know it's been cold here, like 79 at night.
Yeah, this Mother's Day is different for me, not only because of the quarantine, but this is the first time, my sister is going to be a mom. So she has a 7-month-old, and we're going to go over, hopefully be outside, and we're going to see him from a distance. I'm so excited. And he said his first word with my mom, who's been quarantining herself the other day, hi. So she got it on video. So
Oh,
cute.
That's awesome.
And not only that is I feel a sense of closeness to my boyfriend's boys. So they wrote me a happy happy stepmom
brother.
day card. How sweet.
Oh, oh, that is so sweet.
That's
So there's a
beautiful.
lot of milestones here. My mom is here to celebrate it with us. So we're very, very lucky. Yeah.
I love hearing those stories, those moments. And it just gives new eyes, a new perspective.
Like, what is Mother's Day? Exactly.
Mother's Day.
Anything you want it to be. Just a celebration of life, right? Or not, or memories of a mother.
Remember, yep.
Yeah.
And maybe without all of the other life hecticness that would otherwise make it just a box to get checked off, right? Like, oh, it's Sunday, it's Mother's Day. Did we send the flowers? Did we do the thing?
Yes.
And now it could be a little bit more intentional, a little
Yeah.
bit less drowned out by the other crazier things that we have going on, because we shouldn't have other crazy things going on.
Exactly.
Hopefully.
Exactly. Well, it's funny, and I know this is a side note to Mother's Day, but I was talking to a friend of mine in New York, and I really hope that this other friend is not watching right now. It's her birthday coming up soon. And we were talking about like how to get a gift to her, right? So she loves Milk Bar. Oh my God. It's this funfetti cake and cookies and whatever. So anyways, we coordinated with people in New York, Michigan, Florida, whatever, to get to her this cake and cookies and truffles for her birthday that's coming up next weekend. And my friend, Erica, she said, is it just me or is it easier to celebrate right now?
It is. It's that simpleness in it.
Yeah.
Nothing is too small. Nothing. It's
Exactly.
yeah.
You don't have to think about all of the plans that go into it. It's just the intention is there.
And the commercialism has almost decreased, right? It's not about a box card holiday. It's let's celebrate life and be present.
Yeah. Yeah. Life and intention for sure. Always coming back to that. Cool. Very cool. So I know we spoke last week about the giveaways for Mother's Day. I'm going to give everyone just one more chance to like, share, post today. And then on our page, we'll come up with a winner and send out the 2 sanitizers and the stress ball.
So excited.
Yeah. And then we'll show the gift next week.
Okay.
And just a little surprise, I'll be logging in from Sanibel Island next weekend. So
Woo.
take a road trip.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really
talk about venturing off.
Aw. Well, thanks everyone for being with us on this very special Mother's Day. I hope you got some love and goodness from us. And don't remember that call to action. Act in love, kindness, compassion. Like us, love us, share us. We love you. Have a great day, everyone.
Happy Mother's Day. Bye.
Happy Mother's Day.